Hi, I'm John Martin and welcome to another Project 7 update video. In today's episode of What's John Been Over Engineering This Time, we're going to take another look at the gearbox I've commissioned and hopefully save some money, or at least save future John some money when we get into the manufacturing of this gearbox. Before we get into the gearbox, we'd better have a recap for all those people who haven't seen these videos before and frankly have got far better things to do than go and watch all the past videos. In this project, we're taking an unloved 2012 Caterham 7 Supersport SV and converting it into a shiny new electric vehicle. We're taking out all the oily bits and inserting a brand new electric drivetrain. So far, we've got the car road registered, MOT'd and stripped down so that we can take a look at what we've got. We've then 3D scanned the whole project and we're ready for space planning. I've bought a motor and inverter, a traction DC to DC converter, and a bunch of other ancillaries that we're going to use in the project. Now, we need a gearbox for a couple of reasons. One of them is that it helped fill a gap between the motor and the differential, meaning we could run the prop shaft at the full speed we needed. The second reason was that we weren't delivering on the full potential of our battery and propulsion system. And our dynamic spreadsheet was showing us that we had a really poor 0 to 60 time of 13.7 seconds, but if we had a gearbox, we can bring that all the way down to 3.4 seconds and get some really good vehicle dynamics. So a gearbox is going to be essential for what we need this car to do. Before we get into the 3D print proper, I think it would be useful to explain how a Planetary gearbox works and how that tech has been applied to this project. I'll then also cover the main specifications of the gearbox. There are many configurations of Planetary gearing, but I'm only going to cover how we've used them in this project, and I'll use a simplified model to demonstrate the principles. Firstly, we have an input sun gear that takes power from our motor. Then we have 3 planets orbiting the Sun, sharing the torque from the motor out to a fixed ring gear. A carrier connects all the planets together and is where we take the output from this gear set. The general gear reduction equation for this arrangement is 1 plus ring gear teeth divided by sun gear teeth. And therefore, in this example, the speed reduction is 4.5 to 1. Applying that simple example now to our gearbox, we have a sun input shaft, 3 planets, a ring gear and planet carrier, which is our output shaft. I'll make the ring gear a bit see-through so we can see what's going on. We call the motor side of things the high-speed end, and fairly obviously, the output side is known as the low-speed end. Simple really, but the devil is in the detailed loading and lifetime calculations. And that all leads us to a gearbox with the following specifications. You can pause and read through all of that at your leisure. One final thing I should point out before I get to build up the print is that where you see all these red cylinders in the CAD drawings, the CAD model assumes helicoils will be used for all the steel fixings placed into the aluminium. Helicoils are small coils of wire with a thread on the inside that get inserted into soft materials to increase the pull-out characteristics of the fixing. But I can use the expanded holes drawn for the inserts in the CAD as geometry for brass heat inserts that I can then use to strengthen my print assembly and make repeated assembly and disassembly more robust. When I left you in the last video, the gearbox was GA complete, with just a few of the cosmetics to get sorted out. But in order to try and save myself some money in the future, I wanted to 3D print the gearbox, assemble it, and make sure it will all go together the way I expect it. If it doesn't, then it could cost me quite a bit of money in the future when we started cutting metal and things don't work out the way we hoped. So let's go over to the workbench and see about getting this gearbox assembled. I'm going to start with the output, and what we're going to do here is put a couple of the bearings on, and then the casings. Obviously, being a 3D print, it makes a bit of noise because of the layer lines. This thing goes on, there'll be O-rings that sit in here, second bearing goes on there, and then a
circlip goes on there. Because these are 3D bearings and some of this tolerancing isn't quite right on here. So there we have that assembly sort of in place. What I'm going to do now is build up the carrier. So first off, we need the pins to go in. 1, 2, 3. And we have some spacers. And then roller bearings, another spacer. Then we can put the planets onto their pins, and another spacer, and then we can put the carrier on. And there are circlips that I seem to have left somewhere else. Let's go and find those. Here we go. Here's the missing circlips left on my desk. Okay, so that's that assembly done. Let's put some of its bolts in. Okay, there we have the planet assembly. Okay, cheat again, stick that in there, and that's that low speed assembly put together. What I can do now is put the top casing on. Okay, got that together. Let's put some of this together now. So we have this 3D printed race that I've done. The inner race sits on a tapered shaft here. So it doesn't go on that way. It goes on that way. This fits in here. And then there's a pin that goes in to the back. Okay. Next up, I'm going to attach the baffle Okay, next up, put the ring on here. The way that this sort of has to go together at the moment is that goes on here, get the spacer right way around of course, and then its nut goes on here. This nut is to pre-tension the bearing. I don't have the correct bearing here, I'm just using a cheap cylindrical bearing. So what I get is a cheap alternative. Now we can put, let's get that out of the way, now we can put the sun gear into the planets, and then we can put the, there we go, and then we can just put the 3 bolts in here. Normally do this with it sat between my knees, which is a lot easier. I presume in the factory they would have some sort of jig. This would then be the gearbox assembly, and that would get attached to the motor with an adapter plate. Let's give it a twirl.
So that was a really successful test build. And here it is attached to the real motor. Hopefully that's going to save us any issues when we come to make this out of aluminium and steel. Here's the support material I used to print the model. It's not too bad, but as you can see, the support material needs to be pulled off any print where there's an overhang. The support holds it up off the print plate as the layers are printed in the 3D printer. And here we have the mistakes. This is a bunch of stuff that I printed, didn't quite come out the way I wanted. And This one I decided I only wanted to print half. Halfway through the print, realised I was printing half. Same with this one. I printed the whole thing out, took 9 hours, and in the end I realised, oh, I should have printed half of that. This one got printed with no thread on here, so I couldn't attach the nut that pretensions the bearing. These spacers were a little bit too thick. They're specifically tight in the model, and with the idea that different spacers get used when figuring that out in the assembly process. This was the associated nut that didn't have a thread on the inside either, but also no threads for the grub screws. So that couldn't get used. Only realised I needed those two to be threaded later on. And finally, this carrier. I printed it out. It got to 99%, and then the filament jammed. I came into the office to have a look at the printer. Thought, oh, as I walked from the house, it should be 100% complete now. So I ripped it off the plate, only to realise that there was actually filament jam, and it hadn't printed the final couple of layers. Unfortunately, that meant that was scrapped. So there you go. Along with the support material, that was the wastage on this project. Okay, so that's the story of the gearbox. There might be a few modifications required, but nothing that's going to be earth-shattering. We'll just have to see how that pans out when we start looking at the manufacturing a bit more. So what else have I been up to this week? Well, for one thing, I've been looking at how the AC waveforms are going to be sent to the motor from the inverter. In the past we've looked at this and I've described them as being sinusoidal, but actually they're a modified sine wave, and in our motor I think this is a space vector modulation, which creates a waveform that's a triangle wave and a sine wave added together. And I've been doing some reading up about that in one of my favourite books, AC Motor Control and Electrical Vehicle Applications. It's a rip-roaring read that is essential for anybody looking at motor theory. In other news this week, I got a package delivered from AliExpress. I'd ordered a pre-wired connector for the vehicle control unit so that I don't have to go and do all the wiring myself. We'll have to see how well that's been engineered, but for the moment I'm hoping that's going to save me quite a bit of time. That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed my shenanigans in putting that 3D print together, and I hope you learned a little bit on the way. Please do like, comment and subscribe to this video. It does really help the channel. For some reason or other, YouTube's not been sending these videos out to as many people as they used to. I'm not exactly sure what's going to be in the next video or when it's going to come out. But in the meantime, I'll say stay safe and happy blatting.